If I may have your attention, please. At this time, we're going to begin Teddye's memorial service here in our chapel. For those of you that may not be aware and those watching online, the burial took place at 11 a.m. this morning at Waldheim Jewish Cemeteries. So thank you for attending, and those of you online, thank you. And any of you that may have re-engaged from the 11 o'clock burial online to this service, thank you as well. As we begin the service, I would ask if any of you has a cell phone or any other noise-making device, please turn them off at this time. Officiating the service here today is her daughter, Rabbi Kathy. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We begin with Psalm 8. Adonai, Adonenu, how majestic is your name throughout the earth. You who have covered the heavens with your splendor. From the mouths of infants and babes to the ruin of enemy forces, your strength is apparent. When I behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have set in place, what are we that you take mindful of us? We are mere mortals, yet you take note of us. You have made us little less than divine, adorning us with glory and majesty. You have made us masters over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet, sheep and oxen, all of them, and wild beasts too, the birds of the heaven, the fish of the ocean, whatever travels the paths of the seas. Adonai, Adonenu, how majestic is your name throughout the earth. Psalm 23. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roi lo echzar, bin odesha yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot yanachaleni, nafshi yeshovev, yancheni begmaglei tzedek leman shemo, gam ki elech bege'etza mavet lo irara, ki ata imadihi, shivtecha mishantecha hema yenachamuni, tacharoch lefanai shulchan neged zorai, dishanta v'shemen roshi, kosi ravayach, ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai, v'shavti b'beit Adonai liorech yamim. A psalm of David. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want, giving me repose in green meadows, leading me beside the still waters to revive my spirit, guiding me on the right path, for that is God's essence. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod, they comfort me. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai forever. Psalm 121. Shir lamalot esa einai el heharim, me'ayin yavo Ezri me'im Adonai, oseh shamayim be'aretz, al yiten lamut raglecha, al yinom shomrecha, hinoi lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael, Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha al yad yaminecha, Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka vayareach balayla. Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra, yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzeitcha uvoecha me'ata v'ad olam. A song for ascents. I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. Adonai will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. The guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai is your protection, a guardian at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard you from all harm and guard your life. Adonai guards your going out and coming in, now and forevermore. So now I'd like to call on Andrea, who's going to say a few words about our mom.
First, you need to notice the sweater.
Yes. Yeah, you can stay. Okay.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming and being here today. I'm Andrea Felix, Teddie's youngest child. They let me go first, as I'll be too anxious otherwise to listen to what others are saying. Public speaking, not my thing. But now if you were a bunch of third graders, I'd be fine. Someone asked me, what did my mother teach me? I didn't like the question, as I don't remember her saying things like, don't count your chickens before they're hatched, or other pearls of wisdom. What I feel I learned is a reflection of who I am, of who me and my siblings are. My mother was kind, kinder as she grew older. I followed my brother into Brookdale, and I witnessed him saying hello to almost every single person in that lobby. He's a kind, caring person, a reflection of our mother. My sister perseveres. She's already a rabbi, and now she's working to earn her doctorate. Teddie persevered through life, continuing on after her first, then her second, then a third love died before her. She lived in a condo for almost 10 years alone, living as best as she could. I am loyal. I have friends here who I have literally known since first grade, maybe even kindergarten. We don't see each other often, but I know to my bones that they love me and they support me always. As proof to who is here today, my mom was a loyal and caring friend. All three of us are honest, full of integrity and humor. And while it's family lore that it was my father who claimed if it wasn't chocolate, it wasn't dessert, we remember the giant Hershey bars Mom hid in the kitchen closet to be consumed when we went to bed. We are all chocolate heads in our own right. My mom also loved fiercely. She embraced Elisa. She loved me unconditionally as I figured out my life. She welcomed Kathy back into her life and into her heart after a falling out. She didn't criticize or put down exes. Everyone seemed to love her, and to me, that's a reflection of who she was. While I don't have a phrase or a single commentary about how to be in life, I had an example that I greatly appreciate now. I am a reflection of Mom's values and of who she was in the world. Thank you.
And Elisa wants to share a few words.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elisa Zappler, and I am, for those who don't know me, and Teddie was my stepmom, but that was at the beginning. Teddie came into my life 43 years ago when she met my dad, Melzy. Both having lost their spouses at a very early age, Teddie and Mel knew they wanted to meet someone, again, that they could share their lives with. When they met, they fell head over heels for each other. And that was it. They were getting married. I was 23. Teddie's children, Kathy, Dan, and Andrea, were under the chuppah, my brother and sisters, along with Mel's two children, myself, and my late brother, Errol. The wedding took place at Aunt Loie and Uncle Chuck's house, and it was glorious. We were together, bonded forever. My family had become very small. My mom passed at 50, and it was just myself, my father, and my brother. Then came Teddye, and Teddye with her glorious family and her friends, and welcoming us into the fold. We were joined together as a family. Teddye gave my dad, my brother, and I a new life. In some ways, she actually saved us. She gave us a life filled with love and family and contentment and connection and celebration and all those family holiday meals. Oh, those wonderful holiday meals. Stepmom was fading fast. I remember when in my 20s, and I needed to go for a breast biopsy, she showed up. She said, "No one should have to do this alone." She sat with me. "I'm here for you." She stayed the entire time. Then I was engaged, and on my wedding day, Teddye on one arm, my father on the other. As she lifted my veil to kiss me, she said to me so sweetly and softly, "Your mother would be so proud of you today." A few years later, Teddye and my dad rushed to Denver to see their grandbaby, first Sarah, then Aaron. She stood by me as a mother does, through all the challenges, joys that life brings. Every call, every single call ended with, "I love you." Teddye and my dad had a wonderful marriage, filled with joy, adventure, and traveling, and most of all, family. When he died in 2004, and after 24 years of marriage, it was a deep cut that we shared together. Teddye took extraordinary care of my dad, particularly at the end of his life. The loss of my dad and Teddye's husband brought us closer together. Teddye would often remark that most step-parents and children stop being close after a loss like that, but not us. Because we were no longer stepmom and daughter, we were mother and daughter. When I was in my early 30s, for some reason, I decided I wanted to interview my family. And I interviewed everyone and asked them questions like, "What is important to you? Who do you admire most?" And then I compiled the answers and created a bound book with all those answers. And I'm just going to show you. Here's my copy, and everyone has a copy. And I want to read to you Teddye's answer to this one particular question. She was in her early 60s at the time. The question is, if you were at a celebration that was honoring you and people were asked to say something, what would you want them to say? And this was her response. "I would want them to say I had a positive impact in their lives. I would want them to say that I was important to them and that I had been a good influence. I want that others take my weaknesses and make them into their strengths. If they thought I did not give enough, they would be more generous. People would learn from me, and my mistakes would teach them to do and be better." Teddye was a gift to her family. She gave all of herself to the people she loved. And will live in our hearts and our minds, not only today, but forever. Mom, you had an immeasurable impact on my life. You are important to me in every way. And I've been influenced by you to be better, to do better, and to live a full and long life. I love you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And granddaughter Sarah has a poem that she, oh no, okay. So grandson Daniel Schoenberg shared a poem that I'd like to share with you this afternoon. Remember me when I am gone away, gone far away into the silent land, when you can no more hold me by the hand, nor I, half turned to go, yet turning stay. Remember me when no more, day by day, you tell me of our future that you planned. Only remember me. You understand. It will be late to counsel then or pray. Yet if you should forget me for a while and afterwards remember, do not grieve. For if the darkness and corruption leave a vestige of the thoughts that once I had, better far you should forget and smile than that you should remember and be sad. Thank you, Daniel. Ari, would you like to?
I'm her grandson, Ari. She had quite a interaction in my life. For quite a few years, every year we somehow managed to go from New Jersey and make a visit to Grandma. And it was quite a wonderful thing. It let us meet a family, especially who we barely had a chance to interact with otherwise. And then for our bar mitzvahs, she always managed to find some way to give us a wonderful trip. For mine, we went to Florida and we visited Disney, which I hadn't at that point, and they made the time to actually make sure I had a wonderful trip in. And then later on, once I actually started working, I do delivery runs to the city on Thursdays, and as on the way home, make sure I was still paying attention. I'd call her and have a conversation with her. I was driving home, so not only I'd have a chance to make sure I'd stayed attention, but I'd had a chance to interact with her, and it was a wonderful thing. I'm going to miss you, Grandma.
Thank you. Beautiful. And Gabe, did you want to say a few words?
I realized I should have written something. Hi. For those that don't know me, I'm Gabriel, a grandson. For those who know me, you know I'm not usually one to be lost for words, but I was thinking today about legacy and what people leave behind. And before, when we were at the service and I was looking around and everybody that came, it was really amazing, you know? She's like in everybody. She left a lot of amazing people that I love so much, and I'm so proud to be their family, and, you know, that's a blessing that she left for me, and
Nice.
that's something that I'll always cherish. So thank you for those coming, and I love you guys a lot.
Thank you.
I'm gonna miss her.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.
May her blessing be a memory. Thank you.
At times of pain and sadness like this, as we mourn our beloved Theodora Clarice Bournstine Felix-Bliwas, we turn to our Jewish traditions for words of support and comfort. This is the month of Elul, the month before the high holidays. And traditionally, our task is to do a heshbon hanefesh, a life accounting. And of course, accounting is so apropos of Mom, since her first husband, our father Daniel, was an accountant. So today we're going to do a heshbon hanefesh, a life accounting of a woman known to her dear ones as Teddye. She was born in Chicago, a proud third-generation South Sider. After graduating Hyde Park High School, she spent 2 years at the University of Wisconsin before finishing a degree in social work at George Williams College. She did casework for the city of Chicago and worked as the assistant director of the JCC Day Camp program. In between, she volunteered with the Girl Scouts, Young Judea, and the South Shore Y. At a temple dance for singles, she met Daniel Everett Felix, and after a whirlwind romance, they settled in an apartment kitty corner from her parents. And she gave up her career to raise me, my brother Daniel Paul, and my sister Andrea Sue. Though she didn't work for pay while we were young, she volunteered with the League of Women Voters, with the United Order of True Sisters, a German Jewish social club. She served as an officer of our local PTA. She played bridge, participated in an investment group, and entertained her friends. After her children were grown, she resumed her career as a geriatric activities director for several North Shore facilities, retiring to travel, read, follow politics. She finally gave up her car last year, but she continued her weekly beauty parlor sessions and bridge games and remained sharp and funny until her end. We do a cheshbon hanefesh, a life accounting of Teddye Felix-Bliwas. Teddye opened her heart to my husband Elliot and to Danny's wife Andy, and she adored her grandchildren, Daniel, Gabe, and Ari Schoenberg, Dana and Jay Felix. When her beloved Daniel died, she joined the North Shore Jewish Singles and quickly met Melvin Bliwas, taking his children, Elisa and Errol, on as her own children, and Elisa's children, Sarah and Aaron, as her own grandchildren. When Mel died, she developed a close relationship with Carl Lerner. She was so happy when Sarah married Zachary Tomlinson and Daniel married Jamie Peck, and would have loved Brigitte if she had met her. She was thrilled to meet her great-grandchildren, Noah Tomlinson Zappeler and Jacqueline Schoenberg. She maintained deep connections with her nieces, Karen and Susan, and their spouses, Rick and Mike, and with their children, Bobby and Melanie and baby Sadie, James and Amanda and baby Everett, Mike, and our newest cousin, Michelle and Madden. She kept up with her nephew, Jimmy Felix, and childhood friend from their infancy, Dorothy Bournstine, as well as her dear friend, Marcia Baum, and her family. Dana remembers how Grandma took her to New York City after her bat mitzvah, how they saw Broadway shows, had great food, and went shopping. She remembers Grandma always encouraging her in her artwork and creativity. We do a cheshbon hanefesh, a life accounting of Teddye Felix-Bliwas. My mom was smart and funny. She loved to read, and she would pass on Andrea's book suggestions to me, so we would have a family book discussion. She was passionate about politics, supporting progressive causes and candidates. She was elegant Even in assisted living, she brought an array of different colored sneakers, so she would always coordinate tip to toe, and always accessorized with an extensive collection of her jewelry. She was creative and artistic. Her posters for the PTA won citywide awards. She loved knitting sweaters and scarves for herself and her family. She was passionate about her Judaism. I have wonderful memories of sitting next to her at Rosh Hashanah services, singing Ein Keloheinu, and singing Dayenu with her at Passover Seders. When she came east to visit us, she would always come to services with me and my congregation, and since the pandemic, she has been a Shabbat regular every Saturday morning, Zooming my service on her iPad. She was also a woman of great gratitude. Even as a child, I remember her saying, "That person is just the nicest person," right? Barbara and Fred, they are just the nicest people. And that sense of gratitude and Thanksgiving really only grew and became a more foundational part of who she was until when I visited her in the hospital in July. So she would order, she wasn't feeling like eating, so she would order and I would eat the meals. So she ordered a tuna fish platter. So it was a tuna fish platter. There was a lump of tuna fish and it was surrounded by cut vegetables, and she looked at it and she said, "Isn't that a beautiful arrangement?" And it's all cut so nicely. And when she came back to Brookdale, she said, they had such wonderful food at the hospital. She just became more and more full of gratitude and thanksgiving. We do a cheshbon hanefesh, a life accounting of Teddye Felix-Bliwas. My mom lived a full life. She traveled, she worked, she studied. She built long-term relationships with family and friends. By the end, she was ready to go. We who remain can only wish that she rest in peace as we cherish her memory and let her inspire us to deeds of kindness and generosity. Amen. So I'm going to ask now you all to rise, please, for the traditional morning prayer, the El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim, Shachen Bamramim, Hamsei Menucha Nechana Tachat Kanfei Shechina, B'malot Kedoshim U'Te'arim, Kazohar Akia Mazchirin, et Nishmat Teddye Felix-Bliwas, Shalcha Leolamam, Began Eden Tieh Menuchata, Anabal Harachamim, Hastirecha B'Tzeder Kanafecha Leolamim, Utzra B'Tzra Chaim et Nishmata, Adonai Hunachlata, V'tanuach V'Shalom al Mishkava, V'nomar, Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Theodora Clarice Bournstine Felix-Bliwas, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace, and we say, Amen. So for several years, my brother as an adult lived with my mother, and he felt that he never got the last word. So we're going to invite now my brother to have the last word about Teddye Felix.
So as I mourn, respect, and celebrate the life of my mother with all of you, I want to share a few of many instances where she taught me. And the first may be of a surprise because she embedded on me a very deep appreciation of the absurd. This started, the story, the inescapable tale is that very young, I'm small, I'm so small that she's picking me up to put me in the seat of the grocery cart. We're shopping the High-Low food store, South Shore, and going through the aisles, and I'm sure I was perfectly well behaved, and it was not as a bribe that my mother steered us over to the deli section and said, and when she ordered the Swiss cheese, she peeled off a slice and handed it to me. And she said to me, wait, I'm not going to repeat that. Good, it was setting up. Don't eat the holes, boy. Took me a while, eat around the edge. It raises so many issues. Swiss cheese in the deli. This was my mother. She never explained that to me either. On a much different level, and something that's been talked about, I'm going to talk about in a slightly different way, is that I never heard her say anything bad about anyone. There was a point many years ago when 3 family members stopped talking to her. This was a tsunami. And during that time, after that time, never once did I hear her say anything negative about any of the 3 of them. And it wasn't one of those, I'd really want to tell you what I think, but I'm just not going to go there. No, it was all wonderful compliments. She still called it straight as to what was going on, and it was only positive things. I don't know if she was even thinking the bad thoughts, and that's been an amazing goal for me. 2 more items. One impacts me both personally and professionally, and this is how she handled her aging. I guess there's the professional article in this for me. She gave up the car. It didn't happen overnight, but it was not that protracted back and forth. And she missed the car, and she told us that. She brought in a care manager, not a caregiver, a care manager. It wasn't immediate. It took a while to do, and it was a gift. She embraced the wisdom right away because, of course, that's what a care manager does, is give that kind of insight and support. And Debbie Feldman was a great help all the way through. And again, Mother said that. But the biggest thing about her aging that she did that really wasn't even on my horizon was that she set up and was amenable to setting up a weekly call with the 4 of us, which of course quickly received a name. It was called Team Teddye, and we met on Zoom. We even had a theme song. Don't make me sing it, but go Team Teddye, woo! That's a little goes a long way. But that allowed for so many levels of communication, for us to be aligned as to what was going on so that we could be connecting with each other. There were a few Team Teddys that met without Teddie, especially at certain points where we had some special concerns. But overall, all these things, and especially Team Teddie, kept her independent, and that was really because that she was aware and open to these changes in her life. Last thing what I want to close with is her impact on me around music. The classical station here in Chicago, WFMT, provided the background sounds for her life. I'm guilty as charged as well. And there were a lot of songs. We heard about her song with Dad, which was It Had to Be You. I think their second favorite song was the Ellington tune, Don't Get Around Much Anymore. But there was another song, a World War II standard, that she requested that we sing at her first husband's funeral, my father's funeral, back in 1978. The song got wonderfully twisted by Stanley Kubrick in the film Dr. Strangelove. My sister sang it to her in her last days, and the last word here is really a last song. If you'll join with me, you have in your book, it's on I guess it's the third page, We'll Meet Again. And we're going to do it a cappella. So if you don't know the introduction, join in whenever you can, but it goes, let's say goodbye with a smile, dear, just for a while, dear, we must part. Don't let this parting upset you. I'll not forget you, sweetheart, ready, and we'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through just like you always do, till the blue skies drive those dark clouds far away. And won't you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, that as I saw you go, I was singing this song. Oh, Mommy, we'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So beautiful. So this ends our formal service. We will be sitting Shiva this afternoon, immediately following at Brookdale, the 5th floor of Brookdale Institute in Northbrook. And you're all welcome to join us for our reception. Thank you so much.
Lower all the way. Okay.
Yeah, can I?
So that's Mommy and Papa? That's my great grandparents. Yeah. This is Mommy and Papa. This is
Andrew's down. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for trekking all the way to Waldheim. We're just going to wait for a minute. Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate it. So I'm going to begin with a reading from Ecclesiastes. L'chol zman ve'ed l'chol chapetz tachat hashamayim, eit lalaret ve'ed lamut, eit l'tachat ve'ed l'kod toa, eit lacharov ve'ed l'irko, eit l'irkot ve'ed livnot, eit l'tkot ve'ed l'tzchok, eit tzvod ve'ed kod, eit tzrik avanim ve'ed kanes avanim, eit lahabok ve'eit lirchok mehabek, eit levakesh ve'eit le'abed, eit lishmor ve'eit lahashliv, eit le'achol ve'eit lishno, eit milchama ve'eit shalom. A season is set for everything, and a time for every experience under heaven, a time for planting and a time for reaping, a time for keeping and a time for discarding, a time for loving but a time for hating, a time for embracing and a time for refraining, a time for killing and a time for healing, a time for laughing but a time for weeping, a time for dancing and a time for wailing, a time for birthing and a time for dying, a time for speaking, but a time for silence, a time for seeking, and a time for losing. I'm going to continue with a psalm, Psalm 91. Yoshev b'tzeter elyon b'tzel Shaddai titlonan, Omar ladonai machzi u'mesudati, Elohai eftach bo, Ki hu yiltilcha miyad mikosh, midever chayod mievrato yitzok lach, v'tachat kanapav te'eseh, tzina v'tohara imato, lo tira mipachad laila, mechetz ya'uf le'omaham, midever be'ofel yahaloch, miketer yetzut soharayim, yikra'eni be'enehu, imo anochi b'tzara, Atzaltehu v'achvaktehu, orech yamim asbiehu, v'erehu b'shuati, orech yamin asbiehu, v'erehu b'shuati. For those who dwell in the shelter of the Most High and abide in the protection of Shaddai, I say of Adonai, my refuge and stronghold, my God in whom I trust, Adonai will save you from the fowler's trap, from the destructive plague. God will shelter you, you will find refuge. For God's fidelity is an encircling shield. You need not fear the terror by night, nor the arrows that fly by day, the plague that stalks in the darkness, nor the scourge that ravishes at noon. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 close at hand, but death shall fall short of you. You will see it with your eyes. Because you took Adonai as your haven, no disease will touch your tent. For God will order angels to guard you wherever you go. They will carry you in their hands, lest you hurt your foot on a stone. As God has said, I will deliver those devoted to me. I will protect those who know my name. When they call on me, I will answer by being there in time of trouble, by rescuing and honoring, by satisfying with long life and revealing my salvation. So now I'd like to call on Andrea, who wants to say a few words.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi,
everybody. Hi. This book was given to my mom by her mother, and it's inscribed to Teddye from Mother. And I wanted to read just a short little verse called To My Mother. To you, my mother, read my rhymes for the love of unforgotten times, and you may chance to hear once more the little feet along the floor. That's all.
Beautiful. I remember her reading when we got sick. We would stay at home, and she would read from Child's Garden of Verses to us. But yeah. I wanted to share, though, a more recent memory, which is when my sons were born. Even though I was all the way out in New Jersey and she was all the way in Highland Park, she used to come out. She came out for all three of the boys and helped me and support me when they were first born. And when Ari was 6 months old, he needed surgery, and she flew out and she ran the house with Daniel and Elliot while Elliot and I were able to take care of Ari and be with him for his surgery. So that's my memory of her, is just being there in times of sorrow. And yet you shouldn't think that's the only time, because she also came out for all of their graduations. So we have pictures. She came out at sad times and at difficult times and at happy times and at good times. And we would come during Thanksgiving to be with her then. And so we really have beautiful, beautiful memories of her love and support to the entire family. So I just wanted to share those words in a private way with you before our service this afternoon. So there's tradition to do two memorial prayers. One calls for Mom's Hebrew name, but of course, as you know, as you see from the gravestones, and also from the gravestones of all these German Jews around them, none of them had Hebrew names. So, right, Mark Baum either. So, so I'm just going to call her by her English name, which was her name. So, first the El Malay, and then you should have in your pamphlets the Kaddish prayer on the back page of your prayer. So I'm going to ask those who can to rise, please, for our El Malay. El Malay Rachamim, Shochein Bamramim, Amsei Minucha Nechona Tachat Kanpei Shchina, B'mahalot kedoshim u'teharihim, kezohar kiamaskirin, et nishmat Theodora Clarice Bournstine Felix-Bliwas. Shalcha liolama, began Eden tiri menuchata, anabal harachamim, hastirecha betzeder kanafecha leolamim, utzrar betzra chaim et nishmata, Adonai hunachlata, v'tanuach v'shalom al mishkava, v'nomar, Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Theodora Clarice Bournstine Felix-Bliwas, who is gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And we say, Amen. And we're going to continue now with the Kaddish, and those who are able, please join in. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shamei rabbah, v'yalmad divrach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mivorach le'olam u'me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpawar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei v'kudashav brichu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'miram v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God, who creates peace in the highest heavens, grant peace to all of us who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. So now comes a ritual that's called Chesed Shel Emet, a true kindness, because this is a kindness that can never be repaid, and this is the kindness of putting earth on the coffin. So I'm going to wait for Doug to bring out the shovels. Great, okay, great. We have some certified earth from the land of Israel. So that will top on. Right, got it. Okay, so first we're going to put the top on the grave. So to demonstrate that we only with great reluctance say goodbye to our beloved Teddie, we turn the shovel upside down for our first scoop. So we do the shovel upside down, and then if you want to do more with it right side up, you're very welcome. So,
If you would like to participate today, please watch your step at all times around the open grave. Anyone else wishing to participate, please step forward.
So we're now going to ask everybody but the Sibs to make two lines, and then the mourners will pass through, and as they pass through, you say, "May you be comforted. May you be comforted."
Anyone that's not wearing a Korea ribbon to please come in this direction.
So you're
We're going
gonna
to make a corridor, two lines
yeah.
facing one another.
So these nice gentlemen will direct us to the.
Lines facing one another. As we complete the interment portion of the services this morning, I want to begin with an apology to those present and those online. There was a delay in our Zoom provider in order to broadcast the service. It was resolved around service time, but to the extent we caused a delay in the beginning of the service, I apologize to the deceased and the family and those that are watching. For those of you that are in attendance and those online, I do want to remind you there is a public memorial service today at 1 p.m. at our funeral home, 8851 Skokie Boulevard. For those of you local, that's the intersection of Niles Center and Skokie Boulevard, 1 block north of Dempster Street. Again, that service will begin at 1 p.m. The family will be sitting Shiva beginning today at 2:30 until 6 p.m. at Brookdale on the 5th floor in the art room. For those of you present, that's in the service folder. For those of you watching online, that information's on the website that you are currently on. And finally, I would ask that those that are present and online, please take note that the family has asked that memorial contributions be made to American Friends of Magen David Adom and to the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU. That information is available as well in print and online. This does conclude the services. Thank you.